Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from chilly for the season, Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast. I'm Dan.
And I am Mark, sitting in for Frank.
Yeah, you're the second week in a row we've had a filler in, and you're the second of the fillers in.
I like to think I'm the first. I don't care for this usurper, Jake. This pretender to the throne.
I see. He's,
He did fine, okay? He did fine.
I feel like he did quite well.
He did quite well.
Technically, the throne is mine and Frank's. So you're second in command, or third in command, or something.
I'm first usurper.
You're first usurper. He's second usurper.
I'm first among pretenders. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. As long as he knows his place.
Indeed.
In the brutal TGI hierarchy.
Yes, that includes even others, but
Whatever. I'm here now. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. You don't have to worry about it.
My time.
And what also matters is that Frank's not here. So we wish him well in his endeavors.
We wish him a speedy recovery.
Yes, indeed. From not an ailment. Coming up on today's show later on, we're gonna be discussing murder.
Murder most foul.
Murder most foul.
Yes, slow motion murder.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about folks who don't get medical treatment for their chillins in favor of praying to an invisible buddy.
Yeah, in favor of what's technically called bullshit.
Nothing. Doing exactly nothing.
Well, maple syrup and cayenne pepper's not nothing, buddy.
Doing a whole lot of things that aren't the thing that will help.
They season their children. They just don't get them medical help.
They marinate the children in hopes that it'll... Anyway.
Kind of a hot and sour corpse left behind.
Delicious. We're going to get to that later, though. First, why don't we tell a story or two?
Yeah, buddy.
You got something for me?
Well, I have a nice little palate cleanser, just a nice little kind of entree into the stories.
A little amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche. This is a perennial favorite of the show. This ridiculous shitbag, Pastor Kevin Swanson. He would cover himself in cow poop outside his his son's wedding, his son's gay wedding.
Right, if his son were gay.
Yes, or his gun.
If his gun were gay, he would cover himself. He really likes cow poop is mostly the thing.
He's got a fetish that he needs to go public with. And whatever, man. There's a lot of colors in the rainbow.
You do you, brother.
You do you. Because nobody else will.
Right.
But Pastor Kevin Swanson compares gay people to Nazis and cannibals.
Well, I mean...
Yeah.
They're both... When you think about it, they're both obvious.
They're all snappy dressers.
Well, those Nazis their uniforms were designed by Hugo Boss.
I told a friend of mine in the film business, I told him, Jewish guy, great guy, was nominated for an award of some kind, and showed me a picture of him in his beautiful Hugo Boss suit that he was going to wear to the award show. I'm like, you know what Hugo Boss did? You know who else likes Hugo Boss? And he was like, oh, no, seriously? And he wouldn't wear the suit.
Oh, you ruined it.
I ruined it. Anywho,
and then he shows you a picture of his Passat that he's going to drive there, and you're like, let me tell you something about Volkswagen.
Exactly, it's a Volkswagen. It's a Costas of Volks. So this guy, Kevin Swanson, has said that Mark Twain was possessed by the devil. That the punishment
Mark Twain.
Oh, sure. Why not? Yeah, sure. Mark Twain was possessed by the devil. The punishment for reading Harry Potter books should be drowning. Hates Girl Scout, is alone in his hatred for Girl Scout cookies.
Right.
And he said, and now he's on to this. He says, I know homosexuals love each other, and cannibals love their victims, and the Nazis love, present tense, their children. Cannibals don't love their victims; they eat them.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, which cannibals is he referring to?
I don't know, man.
I mean, Is he referring to like the cartoon people that we saw on Saturday mornings, like in the Looney Tunes or whatever?
The hair-raisingly racist stereotypes of Africans with Bugs Bunny peeling carrots in his bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what he doesn't know what he's talking about either. But we've described him on the show before as a not successfully closeted gay man.
Oh, man, you listen to this guy's voice and it's just like, uh-huh, mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you grew up in Utah, he sounds like every seminary teacher you ever had. And you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
My brother, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, careful on those, my brothers.
All right. Well, we are brothers.
We are brothers in Christ, of course.
We are brothers in Christ.
But anyway, we are not, just to tip our hand a little bit in terms of our physiognomies, we are not brothers. We are brothers.
We are brothers.
Very, very.
Emphasis on R.
Really important distinction.
All right, brother. What do you got?
Okay. You Nazi, you. You gay Nazi.
I do love my food. What? I don't know. I don't even know what to make of it.
You eat people. Just admit that you eat people, you queer.
Well, Soylent Green is people.
I'm going to go to the political realm and get to another. It's just, here's the thing. I'm fine with people having different political and even religious ideologies from my own. That's okay.
All right. Where are you going with this?
But if you're going to believe X, you have to act X. If you're going to tell me that you believe that Christians that this country needs to be Christian and that Christian values are going to save this country and you're going to fight against the gays and you're going to fight against the blah, blah, blahs, let me tell you something. You can't have been molesting little boys. That's just, you just can't do that. So I'm talking about one Mr. Denny Hastert, former Speaker of our House of Representatives in this country of ours, who has now been sentenced to 15 months in prison, not for molesting the boys, but because he illegally structured bank transactions in an effort to cover up his abuse.
The hush money, right?
Yeah, he is no longer able to be sued for the the actual infractions of molesting the boys, though he has admitted to it.
Right, he's finally admitted to it. Yeah.
He is now copped to it completely in a court of law, but the statute of limitations is up, so he can't be tried for those crimes. So he's only going to 15 months of prison, which probably for his real crimes he would have been just in prison for the rest of his goddamn life.
And if he had been, then he couldn't have conducted the prosecution of President Clinton in the House for sexual misconduct while in office.
Right. Yeah, then he wouldn't have been able to do that. But instead, he took that nice high horse of, how dare you have sex outside of your marriage, sir?
With a consenting adult, you cur.
You bastard. Everyone knows you can't do that. Now, boys, on the other hand, fair game.
Yeah, as long as you're coaching them.
Yeah, Well, how do you propose I establish a bond with these young men whom I'm coaching wrestling?
He's just such a shuffling old oaf.
Well, he's in a wheelchair now, and
well, I think he's hamming it up. Oh, I'm too weak to go to prison.
Well, he did. Yeah, I mean, he did try to, try to play up the whole. He has apparently had a stroke in the last year, and like all
Poor
kinds
choice of words,
all kind of infection. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Anyway, horrible. Yeah, he's had all these infections and stuff. And here's the other thing, and I find this to be just as alarming. Like, yes, he's a criminal, he's a child molester. So many politicos. Even current politicians have been writing like amicus briefs to the court saying, go lenient on him. I know that he's a good man. He was a praying man. He was a good praying Christian.
I know it. I've seen that Tom DeLay, also recently out of jail,
right,
wrote in support of him. It's like, why do you guys have to just don't do anything?
Right.
You don't have to say anything.
Right. Yeah. It's okay to abandon your friend on this one.
Yeah, or at least privately be his friend, but publicly don't go, you know what? Some child molesting, we've all
Who hasn't been there?
I ran a yellow light.
Look, I had some shenanigans in my younger days.
Oh, the Navy.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
God, it's just it that makes it just more gross than it already had to be.
Yeah. I do like the judge sentenced him to he sentenced him to what did I say? 15 months and then $250,000 in fees. And then said...
and he has to do his community service at coaching a youth wrestling team.
Yeah.
Which is so ironic.
It's really strange. That was a strange choice.
Dumb
on the
move.
Part.
Dumb move.
He did say, the Judge Durkin said, if there's a public shaming of the defendant because of the conduct he's engaged in, so be it. And I like that.
Wow, that's like a judge from... like a Punch and Judy show.
Well,
shaming.
Well, I mean, he got all of these letters saying there will be so much shame if you convict him of this, if you send him to jail. And the judge kind of had to say, you know what? Fuck you.
Right.
Dude's a criminal.
We
have a criminal justice system.
Part of a deterrent system of laws, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then other politicians and coaches will look at him and go, oh, I could be shamed if I do this?
Yeah. I better pull your pants up, Junior.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a downside cost to this.
Judge Durkin also said, Judge Durkin said the defendant is a serial child molester. Some actions can obliterate a lifetime of good works. Nothing is more stunning than having serial child molester and Speaker of the House in the same sentence.
Did he say that?
Yeah, that was a judge saying from the stand who said that.
Boy, that is some meaty justice handed out by Durkin.
Yeah, go Durkin.
Good. There's finally been some justice for people who suffered under that creepy old man's.
Yeah. I mean, some victim made $1 million off of it. And that's what they finally got him on, was just improperly doling out money, which is funny because, while he was in office, he was there were rules about not going over like a $10,000 withdrawal without explaining it.
Correct. So he was taking out, as I recall, like $999,000, right?
Or $9,999.
What did I say?
You went higher than that.
900 million.
Yeah,
he was taking out $1 below the reportable amount, right? And thinking nobody will ever suspect this.
What could possibly look weird about that?
He's an asshole and he's a criminal, but he's also not smart.
No.
And he definitely demonstrated that in his years in the speakership.
Yeah.
So
anyway, there we go. He's a bad man and he's going to jail.
Going to jail. So
that's not even news to me unless he, like you said, got on a high horse about fucking Clinton and about all these other things. He hate the gays and whatever.
The public morality of his party.
All those disgusting gays with their
cannibalism,
with their engagement in sex with persons of the same gender,
and brunching.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, but he's not a fag.
No,
because it wasn't consensual. Don't you?
The logic works when you parse it out like that.
Haven't you read the Republican platform?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to something equally non-consensual and horrible.
Okay.
If you're done with poor old Denny,
I don't consent to this.
If you pinned him, I'm trying to make a wrestling joke, but I don't know sport. Provo, Utah. Brigham Young University.
Oh yes, the Mormon institution, the goodly institution of BYU,
the Southern Madrasa, is a private Mormon church owned, operated school.
Yes,
it is, in my humble opinion, a particularly dreadful place.
Fully accredited by the skin of its teeth.
By the skin of its teeth, and hopefully this will help unaccredit it and help it not be so horrific. But anyway, they have an honor code. So when you enroll at the university, whether you are Mormon or not, okay, subject for another time, why non-Mormons go to Brigham Young University, discuss. Some do.
Right.
So whether you're Mormon or not, you have to sign this honor code that has to do with no drinking, no smoking,
You can't be in the apartment of a person of the opposite gender after 10 o'clock.
Right. And you can only live on or off campus in church-approved housing.
Right. BYU has to have approved your housing setup. So you're basically in Provo, Utah. If you want to have an apartment complex, you kind of have to have it be BYU approved housing. Otherwise, you're missing out on not a single student in this college town will be able to stay in your complex.
Right. Even if you're not a Mormon at all and you just want to do business.
Right.
In a college town, you have to have some busybody snoop around your place and give you the Betty Crocker seal of approval.
Yeah.
So you have to sign this honor code. A lot of, it definitely has to do with apparel, which is crazy. It's like skirts below the knee, socks must be worn, no beards.
No beards for men.
But they're fine on women.
Right.
Sorry, super mean.
I would actually love that if a woman who was, just was particularly her suit just wore a beard on BYU's campus. And just as a fuck you.
She'd be like, fuck with me. You can't touch me.
Yeah, you got nothing, bitch.
You got nothing. My ankles are covered, motherfucker. So anyway, most of it has to do with chastity, of course. And there is no, God, it's a university. So you go to a university. One would think you go to a university to expand your mind, your wealth of life experiences.
No.
Have a couple three-ways.
As you do.
As you do.
That's not what you do at BYU.
Not what you do at BYU. It is a middle school dance with hall monitors for 4 years.
Right.
While you get your,
leaving room between you and your partner for the Holy Ghost.
That's right. Ew, spooky. So anyway, you have to sign this stupid thing, and then they can expel you. They can suspend and or expel you for any violation of this.
Right.
Of course, it's completely subjective.
Well, yeah.
Statistically, women are held to a higher standard with it than are the men.
Yeah, boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys.
Come on.
So
it's the girls that really have to watch themselves.
Recently, there's been a little bit of a flurry of bad publicity for BYU because girls, female students, have apparently been loath to report sexual assaults and rapes because the school suddenly appears with your honor code, your assigned honor code, and says, let's see what you violated in this honor code to put you in a position where you were allegedly sexually assaulted.
Yeah, it ends up, it's pretty gross. It's been making national headlines.
Yeah.
Because, you can't, as soon as a woman says, hey, I was raped, suddenly she's under investigation.
Yeah, there is an institutional method for victim blaming.
Yeah.
To instantly come out.
Right.
And part of the story, we don't have to go into it in great detail, part of the story is that the local quote-unquote secular law enforcement, the taxpayer-paid city and county police forces, are in collusion.
Yeah.
To either slow walk rape whoops. Uh-oh, Dan just ejected. I'm on my own, everybody.
I'm okay. I can't hear anything that's happening right now. My headphones took a tumble.
They slid off his greasy head.
I lost my cans.
His cans came off. So what's happening apparently is it is basically a method of discouraging women from reporting sexual assault.
Right. BYU has an incredibly low amount of sexual assault reported, apparently in part because if a woman reports a sexual assault, she knows that she herself will be the subject of investigation.
Yeah, you will be stripped naked and beaten up, and then a woman will follow you all the way across campus, ringing a bell behind you, saying "shame."
Ding ding.
Okay,
ding ding.
A minor exaggeration.
Maybe right. Maybe we're getting that confused with another thing, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, there were dragons in the Book of Mormon, right? I can't remember, but
something like that.
But what happens is women are like, "Oh, great, you're going to couple my sexual assault with expelling me from school."
Right.
So my life just got so much better.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's an ongoing story, and I think there's a lot more to develop from it. And it's good it's getting national attention because incredibly disgraceful.
It's horrific.
Yeah. So
there you go.
And we all know that they've got workarounds to the honor code,
I mean, like, if the honor code applies to everybody, but a little bit less to, if you're a star athlete, we're going to get you. You're okay.
Yeah, the campus police will just drive your drunk ass home.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. I'm going to go to Oklahoma, where the lawmakers are passing lots of bills.
And Frank is from.
Yeah, that's true. So in Oklahoma, there was a bill. Now we've talked a lot about how they're trying to pass bills to get that goddamn 10 Commandments back up and all that stuff. This one. Now, let me ask you, Mark, in your assessment of the laws of our country, where is it legal to have? Is it legal to have an abortion in this country?
Yes.
And is it legal for a state to make abortions illegal?
In my considered legal opinion, no.
No, it's not. This has been to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has ruled you have to allow abortions in the United States. Now,
correct.
Of course, states all over the country, red states all over the country, that is, the more conservative states, have tried everything they can to limit abortions as strictly and narrowly as possible to try and stop it. But you can't stop it. Well, the Oklahoma lawmakers are have a bill that stops it. It's more or less a full-on abortion ban. Now, everybody knows that if you do a ban on abortions, all you're doing is creating a lawsuit for yourself, for the state. And Oklahoma is currently already in a financial bind. They're already $1.3 billion in the downside. They've got a $1.3 billion deficit in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So you can see how people might criticize basically just, I'm going to pass a law that equals a lawsuit that we cannot win.
It's just a money fire.
It's just, I'm just going to put stacks of cash in the middle here and then throw lit matches at it until something happens.
Yeah, they could take it out in front of their 10 Commandments monument and just have a nice, barbecue.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, these message bills, they know they're never going to work.
Right.
But they happen they happen in Utah every day.
Yes.
And they're just we're trying to take, the state's trying to seize all the federal land in the state of Utah. And I think Utah has more federal land than any other state.
Per capita or per square mile or something like that.
Per whatever. And it's never going to happen.
No.
And there's going to be another lawsuit. And they're going to lose shit tons of money. And they don't care.
Right. Because they're grandstanding.
They're running for re-election.
Right. So they don't a budget deficit is another thing that they can actually run on. They can be like, yes, I'll fix the budget deficit that I created.
Government doesn't work.
Right.
Elect me again.
Right, exactly. This particular one, State Representative David Brumbaugh, he had a reason why this isn't going to bankrupt anybody. Here's what he said. He said, everybody talks about this $1.3 billion deficit. He said, if we take care of the morality, God will take care of the economy.
Jesus.
He's figured it out. He's figured out how to make it work.
Yeah, well, I think a close examination of the economic status of every majority, every God-bothered state shows that God really has kind of tinkered with the...
Well, it does show, absolutely, because if you look at the states that are the most conservative, that institute the conservative policies, you got your Kansas.
Yep.
You got your...
Kansas is talking about fire. Kansas is on fire. That state is just a disaster.
You talk about, Alabama, Georgia,
Mississippi.
all of these are the states that have the best economies.
Yep.
Right?
Best economies, lowest teen pregnancy, highest literacy, best outcomes,
right,
for infants.
because they legislate God first and logic second, and it works every single time.
It hasn't not worked yet. Abstinence only education in Texas didn't not create a massive uptick in teenagers doing anal.
Right, exactly. It's all working out exactly according to plan every single time.
1 + 1 = 2.
It's so clear. Yeah, it's just... I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, well, Frank and I talked about this one time where he's like, we were talking about the marriage equality, and he's like, I think it's kind of settled, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, just like abortion.
Yeah.
Right? For the past 45 years, just this piranhas nibbling around the edge, trying to get to the marrow of the legalities.
Right.
The hallway has to be this wide. The parking lot must face southeast.
Right, exactly. Yeah. In order to get an abortion, you have to drive around in a circle for 400 miles and then and wait 3 weeks and also get permission from your local pastor.
Yeah. It's never ending. I just don't think as long as there's trailer parks that reelect Republicans, I just don't think these things are ever going to go away. These message bills that are just money fires.
Yeah. So this Brumbach guy compared the abortion legislation to Civil Rights Act and the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. He said, "Don't let people tell you unconstitutional arguments, Roe v. Wade, all this." just don't let him tell you that.
God, his rhetoric is amazing, isn't it? It's like listening to Clarence Darrow.
Well, yes, it is. Yeah. It is like listening to
Don't you do the law thing with the bill and the woman.
He is a statesman, is he not?
Truly a statesman.
He said, "Do we make laws because they're moral and right, or do we make them based on what an unelected judicial occupant might question or overturn?"
I love that whole unelected. Article 3, Section 3 of the United States Constitution. Look it up. There's a judiciary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and we don't elect them.
And we don't elect them for a reason. Like, that's why they're there.
And when we have elected judges, as we sadly do in many parts of the country, you get what you expect.
Yeah, you get
guys like that.
You get Justice, what's his name from Alabama, Chief Justice Roy Moore, who's the chief douchebag of the world.
Yeah, he's a horrible piece of shit.
Oh my God.
All right, well, should I continue? Well,
yeah, move on.
Luckily, we're going in a whole different direction.
Oh, thank God.
It is a suppressive persons alert. It's our old friends in Scientology.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing.
It's been a little quiet on the Scientology front for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
After the whole brouhaha over Going Clear, please see that, everyone, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen or read Going Clear, the book, I understand, is much more informative and better than the movie, but the movie has interesting interviews with former...
Yeah.
It's eye-opening.
Eye-opening. Do you know what's really funny? Is
what's that?
My husband of now 18 years...
Yes.
Had never... We were both raised Mormon. He had never officially kind of cut the cord with the church. He didn't have any affinity for it. He'd just never gone through the paperwork.
Right.
And it was Going Clear that made him go, I got to get out of this.
I'm still associated with one of these.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of life lessons there for
everybody.
Everyone.
Yes, indeed.
So, suppressive persons alert. The head of Scientology is one horrible little troll named David Miscavige. I'll be dead in 24 hours.
Kind of a cute little monkey.
Ugh, he's shorter than Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that was believe me, of all the reasons to see Going Clear, seeing a dude that's actually shorter than Tom Cruise and watching both of their short man's complexes on full display is amazing.
It is amazing.
They shake hands harder than two men have ever shook hands in the world.
Yeah.
It's the most manly handshake you ever saw.
They have more muscles in their jaws than Schwarzenegger had on his body at his height. He's like, I don't know how their teeth can stand that compression.
Yeah.
So anyway, David Miscavige took over. Apparently there was a power struggle after L. Ron Hubbard died, or was kind of exiled to a trailer in the desert. So Miscavige took over. He's a super ruthless little fellow, and his father was also in the church.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's his dad's name? Big Ron Miscavige.
Mr. Miscavige.
Big Daddy Miscavige. So he was in the church for a while. When his son took over, I think it was inconvenient for his son to have an authority figure of any kind over him around.
Right.
So he banished his dad to that, I think it's called Gold Base, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's in the California desert, and it's where they kind of send their quote-unquote prisoners to suffer horribly, and where the famous incident of the musical chairs happened, where people were fighting. And
oh, right.
So his father, if I understand it correctly, essentially crawled out of a sewer pipe or a drainage pipe and escaped.
Oh, my God.
The father of the head of Scientology managed to escape. So he has written a tell-all.
Oh, dear.
That is supposed to be coming out in May, I believe.
Oh, God.
And it is coupled also with Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of the king.
Oh, yeah.
Has just defected.
Oh, really?
And she has apparently quite a story to tell that is going to be, if I'm reading this correctly, featured on 2020 this Friday. So the legal arm of Scientology is at full alert.
Wow, yeah.
They're sending blizzards of threatening letters to everyone, and you've all probably gotten one at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised ours hasn't come.
Yeah,
where's the TTIA letter? Where's my harassment?
Registered mail. So anyway, this is pretty exciting. It's always they're such a fun pinata to kick around with Scientology. So it's always exciting when there's bad news for them.
Yeah.
So,
and we are small enough. We're, I'm proud of our numbers in terms of this podcast, but we're small enough to fly under their radar still.
We'll see if one of us ends up mysteriously dead.
Yeah, you'll know.
You'll know what's happened. So there you go. 2020, this Friday. Check it out.
Yeah, that's interesting. That his own dad.
He put his own dad in prison.
In religion prison.
Yep. In a double wide out in the desert. For real. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I've got a thing that relates to us here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have actually a really amazing gay pride festival here in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Most people who come from out of town, friends of mine who have come from out of town, from like San Francisco. I know people from San Francisco who have come to the Utah Gay Pride and been like, holy shit.
San Francisco is a very gay city for our new listeners or people.
For people who haven't lived on this earth before.
People new to Earth.
Yeah. San Francisco's queer as can be.
Why, it's gayer than Sodom and Gomorrah.
It's gay as a May Day.
Gay as a May Day. It's gay as Kevin Swanson.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I gotta say, and I've been to the Castro Street Fair in San Francisco and was
pretty gay.
It's gay, but I was like, oh, it's just the same as our gay pride, only with dicks hanging out.
Yeah, we don't do the dicks hanging out thing so much.
Ours is more of a family affair, and maybe that's why this year they have banned a porn site from their festivities.
Oh.
MormonBoys.com was going to have a float in this year's parade.
Oh, wow.
They've been denied.
Well,
they're very upset about it. LeGrand Wolf, who started the site,
is that his real name? That's amazing.
It may be a pseudonym.
Oh, I wish it was.
I don't know.
Because it means the big... Oh, okay, I get it.
the big... Yeah, LeGrand is a totally Utah name.
It's a total Utah name.
I've met a LeGrand, actually. But he apparently, he's very upset about it because this plan was to show up and just have guys in suit and tie. Not in garments, as one might think.
Right.
Because, you got to understand, this entire website is devoted to just gay boys who grew up LDS, probably, who have always fetishized the Mormon undergarment and the wholesome fellows that wear them.
And I don't know if you've ever... I accidentally clicked on it one time. I don't know how I got there.
Yeah. Who can explain it?
Right. I don't want this to turn into a Denny Hastert thing. But have you ever seen it? It is very explicit.
Yes. It's it's a porn site.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. It is pornography. Yeah. But it has to do with guys maybe Mormon missionaries exploring for the first time.
Yeah, and I got to say that magic underwear does not protect your butt. based on that site. So be warned.
Yeah.
Wow, that's... I guess I get it. Do you get it? I mean, do you think it's okay that they're doing that?
Well, here's the thing. The Utah Pride Center, the Utah Pride Festival has always worked very hard to be a family thing,
and they've succeeded.
Yeah,
it's like a 4th of July.
Yeah, people bring their kids
picnic,
and you go out and you just have a good time with a bunch of queers, and it's good, but. It's not like when you go to the Pride Parade, you don't see go-go boys in almost nothing gyrating on a thing.
There's quite a lot of that.
There's plenty of that.
Yeah.
And, girls too, and just like a bunch of scantily clad humans.
There's fetish people. I mean, genitals are covered, but there's that...
That thing is there.
Right. The sexuality is very much present.
It seems weird to me because this should be... a sex-positive crowd.
Yep.
And a porn-positive crowd, especially in the environment that we live in this state right now that is so... where the legislature has now declared it to be this pornography is a
public health crisis.
Public health crisis.
Yeah.
I would think that the Utah Pride Parade would be a great place to flip the Utah legislature off and say, fuck you.
Yeah.
We like our porn.
I agree. I think that the people are like, oh, well, you go to the Pride Parade and, I'm gay, but I just hate that it's always the goofy guy painted gold wiggling his dick around. And it's like, well, you know what? It's also his parade.
Yeah.
It's that guy's parade too.
Yeah.
And in a repressive society when that guy has probably lived in, a hellish life up to that fucking moment that he's on that float.
His family has rejected him for being who he is.
His family, his society, his
everybody,
school, and so
if he wants to be in gold and waggle up on a stage,
I agree.
Kill it, buddy. Knock yourself out.
I agree. I would only play the devil's advocate for 5 seconds and say something that I think that has been very effective in Utah is you go to the gay pride parade and there's the go-go boys and there's the the dykes on bikes and all that stuff.
Right.
But there are more golden retrievers and strollers than anywhere you'll ever go in your life.
Right.
And we have turned the pride parade, for better or for worse, into a family affair, meaning gay people aren't scary to the average Utah family anymore, and that is a good medicine, and that spreads societally.
I like that about it. I love that about it.
I like that about it too. And our mayor, several of our mayors have marched in the front of the gay pride
Our
parade.
current mayor hasn't had a chance to as mayor yet, but the fact that she's a lesbian kind of makes me think she might be there.
She's so gay.
She's kind of gay.
Kind of gay. So I don't know. The Mormon boys thing is super provocative.
Yes,
which doesn't mean that they don't have a place to be in the parade. But
but Mormons in general freak the fuck out at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
This website was probably started less to serve those who would like the imagery and more to just provoke. More as just a fuck you to the church.
To drive them bananas.
But a fuck you to the church, by the way, of which I fully approve.
Yeah, fully approve.
I love that.
Yeah, it's taken something back from them. And
Yeah.
And that's, it's for those who don't know, those garments, you can give Mormons shit about a lot of things and they'll take it. You can say, Joseph Smith was a pedophile. And they're like, yeah, I know. It's kind of a complicated history. Or, this. But the garments are fucking off limits.
They are off the table. Yeah. Do not talk about them. They'll probably just get really so uncomfortable and leave.
Yeah.
It is not open for discussion.
Yeah. So if you have a Mormon friend and you want to keep them, that's the subject you don't talk about, in my opinion.
Or you ask very respectfully, and because they're not.
Even temple ceremonies are less, right? You can kind of.
It's
talk
kind
about
of in the same category, I think. They won't talk about either because it's.
But the garments are so. Maybe it's just because it's literally the closest thing to them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but it's touchy, man.
Do you people realize, by the way, that they wear their women wear their garments under their bra, The bra goes over the garments. This has to be the closest thing to your body. pretty much at all times. And as a matter of fact, I heard a fascinating story just the other day. Just yesterday, as a matter of fact, a Mormon girl that I know went to a Mormon a bridal shower. Mm-hmm. And Mormon bridal showers are always this interesting thing because
I've never been to one, but
right. But there's this whole thing of like, do we or don't we buy sexy things,
sexy stuff, right?
At a Mormon bridal shower. Well, this woman got some lingerie as a present for the bridal shower. And her mother-in-law said, "What's that for?"
Oh, no.
And she said, "It's for the wedding night."
Oh,
and
no.
the mother-in-law said, "Well, do you wear it over your garments?"
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
And she said, "No, you take off your garments to have sex." And her own mother-in-law said, "No, you don't."
Oh.
And literally made it very clear that she has never had sex with her garments off.
Ugh.
Meaning, now, just so you know, like in Mormonism, it is okay to take your garments off to have sex. Like you can,
I think so.
It's 100% yes.
Yeah.
But she had just never thought. So she said, "No, you just take one leg out, and then you can have sex, and then you just put that leg back in."
Oh my God. That's
so now my friend calls that kind of Mormon one-leggers.
I've never heard that. That's so fucked up.
So fucked up.
I'm old enough that I remember my parents. This isn't going to be a sex thing, but I remember my parents. My dad had the trap door, like the the button on, like the old Prospector, like that kind.
You have to understand, people. There are different styles of Mormon garments. They're all long leg, like they go down.
I think style is a bridge too far of a word. There are different types.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah.
And like so the ones that our dads grew up with were one piece. They were onesies.
Yep.
And they would they had to have a flap. Otherwise, you had to take the whole thing off in order to poop. So, yeah, gross. It's all disgusting.
So gross.
Anyway, if you guys have anything...
Should we just end here? This is just...
I give up on the whole show. We quit. There will be no more episodes.
Signing off.
That's not true. If you have anything you'd like us to talk about and explore in terms of... underwear.
Share your garment stories.
Sure. Write into us. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com. Or you can call us. You can be on the show yourself with a voicemail. Not this week because that's something Frank does, and I don't even know how to access them. but go call in by dialing 424-666-8442. Or that's 666-TGIA for those of you who still have phones with letters on it. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, or try to get into the members only lounge. We'll see.
Probably won't work.
We'll see if I let you in.
Yeah.
And if at first you don't succeed, honestly, do try again, because apparently Facebook sort of has timed out some of these requests because I'm lazy, and then the person has to you have to just try again. But keep trying. It's worth being in. It's an awesome group.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you have to seek that out because it's closed. So yeah, we're gonna now switch it out. We're gonna listen to one Mr. Jim something or other. No, not Jim something or other. Who are we listening to?
I don't remember. What was this guy's name?
Benhams? Let me think.
Is that his first name?
No, but it should be. I am not prepared for this. Yes.
Benhams McGee.
Benhams McFrugelheim is going to tell us all about Father's Day and father's stuff and how we're all going to die.
So what do you see that is happening in America today? And you'll find it in the last chapter of the last verse of the Old Testament. He will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, the hearts of the children to their fathers, or I will smite the land with a curse. There it is. That is what is happening here. Fatherlessness. The Heavenly Father, we reject him. We've expelled him from school. We banished him from the schoolyard. We've thrown him out. And he's been replaced with metal detectors, condoms, drugs, and violence of unprecedented order while we're looking at each other with awkward amazement, wondering what has happened here. When you remove God, when you take him out of the equation, violence always enters in. And there is no Republican Party, no Supreme Court, no president, no Congress that can fix that. God has got us in a fix that we can't fix so that he can fix us. And the Church of Jesus Christ is the answer. The Church of Jesus Christ is what he is longing for. And we are not ashamed of his gospel, and he is not ashamed.
Well, God has gotten us in a fix, which we can't fix, but the fix is in, and I fix you, and boy, we're going to fix each other.
God's not giving us any fix we can't fix our fixins out of with the three sides of starch.
God, my wife's fixing to fix breakfast, and I'll fix her if she doesn't fix me something with fixins.
Your Cosby's sneaking into that.
Just a little bit. By the way, I didn't have his name before, but here's what's delightful. So this is, have you heard of, so there's these two young guys, David and Jason Benham.
They're kind of fascist twins.
Right, who almost had a house-flipping TV show and then lost it because everybody found out that they, like, hate gays and hate, and
which is kind of funny for guys who fix up little cottages, but I
know,
digress.
right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But what the voice that we just heard was their dad, Flip. Flip Benham.
Flip.
Hey, Flip.
Is that really?
Flippity-doo. Anyway, he's
I don't mean to sound racist, but I've never known a white guy named Flip.
Well, you still don't. But that's him.
Maybe if I get lucky one day, I'll know him.
Yeah.
What an asshole!
He's fired up.
He's physically extremely energetic there.
I feel like one of his gestures almost hit his son in the face.
I think he almost completely dislocated his hand with the gesture. But I don't understand. Is it just me? How do you square the circle of God is so fucking almighty and powerful that, he cannot be moves mountains, he creates universes, he cannot be stopped, but we've kicked him out of the schools.
Yeah, exactly. It's our fault that he's not around.
He's just walking down the street outside the school with his hands in his pockets, kicking a can.
He's just like,
stupid school.
Let me in, you guys.
I created the universe. Now you're going to let me in. Stupid.
I never even liked that school anyway.
I'm going to send a shooter to kill you all. They can, and in the same sentence, he's almighty, he's all powerful.
Yes.
Created the universe.
But
he can't go on school property.
Right, yeah.
It's like, he's like Dennis Hastert with a restraining order. I'd like to go over to the gym, but I can't.
I just can't.
Yeah, they kick me out.
Grr.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
He's a grump. We're gonna skip emails and such because Frank's not here and there's whatever. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our final segment. It's a happy one, guys. I hope that you guys are looking forward to this as much as we are, because what we're going to talk about is parents not praying instead of doing real things for their young people. We've talked about this concept on the show before. Lots of stories pop up all the time about Christian folks praying and or treating their children with alternative medicines that are more spiritual than those chemicals that the doctors want.
and your surgeries, and you're stopping the bleedings,
right?
And
your transfusions and whatnot. I actually read an article recently that said that there's the possibility. This hasn't been confirmed. Sources say that Prince may have died in part because he was Jehovah's Witness, and there are certain medical things that Jehovah's Witnesses just don't do, like blood transfusions or
in fairness, it probably was his blood type is just straight purple. So there's probably could not find, and I know it's a little soon, and I'm doing it out of love.
He has the blood type formerly known as O positive.
Now it's just O straight negative.
Yeah, God, the thing is that for somebody like Prince, who is a full-grown adult human being,
and by any standards, a genius.
And, musically, absolutely.
Well, and intellectually, obviously, the guy was a smart dude.
He was smart, yeah. Absolutely. If that guy wants to refuse treatment for himself and it ends up killing him, fair play.
Shitty?
Stupid, perhaps.
Died too young?
Had every right to do so, though.
Yes, absolutely.
However,
I'm a firm believer that adults should have the right to refuse treatments for themselves. Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can call it stupid and you can complain about it later, but they have the right to do that. However, in the case of one Mariah Walton, which we took as our jumping off point, an article in the Guardian newspaper about this young woman and her fundamentalist Mormon, so not LDS, not proper Brighamite Salt Lake City Mormons, but like a Mormon offshoot sect that her parents were in, that doesn't believe in how you say medicine.
Yeah,
they believe in prayer.
Yeah.
So when she was born with a hole in her heart, something that by all accounts is eminently fixable.
I've known people who were born with that problem, and they're living completely normal lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
they had a procedure.
Her parents opted out of the procedure, the medical procedure, and instead decided that they could fix it with prayer and
rancid olive oil
and bullshit.
Literally, rancid olive oil is their balm. So this young woman, you can see a picture. If you want to set your blood to a pretty stiff simmer, read this Guardian article, and you can see a photo of this young lady.
With her oxygen going into her nose.
Yep, and she's in terrible shape. Her lungs are almost completely destroyed because of this problem.
Right.
And so I don't know how much longer she has to live. She's only 20.
She's a 20-year-old person right now.
And her life is completely fucked by this idiot decision by her parents not to seek proper treatment.
Yeah, she's making headlines in part because she wants her parents. She would love to see her parents prosecuted for this.
Yeah.
That cannot be easy, but fuck them.
All right.
They've basically sentenced her to a long, slow, painful death.
At a very short life.
Yeah.
And she was not allowed to make a religious decision as an adult for herself if she wanted to be part of this. I think, I'm just going a little Old Testament here, I think that a procedure to open holes in their hearts would probably be fair play.
Eye for an eye, and a hole in a heart for a hole in a heart.
And a ventricular hole for ventricular hole. So the problem is that Idaho, a neighboring state of ours, and I think a neighboring state to Utah, and I think
it's kind of Utah's hat.
It's Utah's super wiggity pointy hat.
Yes.
It's a Canada toucher.
Yeah, it is. How dare you, sir?
Touching Alberta right on the bottom there.
It's tickling Alberta's balls.
They are one of 6 states, apparently, that have this idiot law where if you let your child die and it was for religious reasons, you're good.
You're okay.
You're super good.
You're not going to be imprisoned. You're not even going to be prosecuted.
And this article goes on to say that, so Butch, again, we've talked about Butch on this show before, Butch Otter, the very strangely named governor of Idaho. Strange name for a strange governor of a strange state.
It's probably my favorite governor name of all time.
There must be. I'll think of one as we're going along. There's other good ones. He commissioned a study of this particular religious sect in Idaho, and odd that he would do that because he's super conservative. But that study found that their child mortality rates were 10 times
that of the country,
that of the surrounding state, that
wow.
of anywhere else in Idaho, and yet has done nothing with that information.
Right. Well, and it's amazing because you can travel up there and you can actually go through and find all of these little baby grave markers.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's
a picture
not
of
just
one here.
these fundamentalist Mormons. They also have, because they have these permissive laws, they've attracted several other sects that don't believe in this stuff. So there's a Pentecostal sect that does it, called the Followers of Christ. And if they mean following him to death, then yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, so it's super disturbing. There are other discussions in this article about, there's some people who've escaped these cults, like a guy named Brian Hoyt, who's 43, and he talks about at 5 years old holding his dying baby brother while they rubbed rancid oil on him, and the baby died, and they blamed it on him. They said, well, you just weren't faithful enough.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a mind fuck right there. Yeah. I mean, that right there constitutes, in my mind, psychological abuse. So while they were murdering one son, they were abusing the other. Yeah. That's always a fancy thing to do.
And weirdly, it stuck with him all these years.
Strange. Yeah. You'd think that he could get right over that.
Fuck. So,
all of these seem to be, and this article is fascinating in this way, seem to be relics of a Nixon administration decision.
Yes.
In which the Nixon administration they were trying to shield, they were trying to protect kids from child abuse. But in doing so, two Nixon advisors,
H.R. Haldeman, and what was the other guy's name? The guys that went to jail for Watergate.
Right. John Ehrlichman was the other.
Were Christian Scientists.
They were Christian Scientists. And they were like, but wait, you got to protect us. Yeah. Or we don't believe in medicine, so let's put some protections in for us guys.
Oh, thanks, Nixon.
Yeah. Yeah. So
boy, that's a real blemish on his record.
Oh my God! So it's true. On his pristine and lily white record,
raised a Quaker.
Oh yeah,
isn't that weird?
Yeah,
one of history's greatest warmongers was raised a Quaker.
Yeah, there you go.
A story of religion going wrong. You heard it here first.
Yeah, who would have seen that coming?
Yeah.
The thing is, so yeah, you got Ehrlichman and Haldeman,
criminals.
They are, yes. They ended up being prosecuted and
rightly so,
and jailed criminals.
Yeah,
but yes, they were the ones who paved the way for it to be legal in what did you say? 6 states?
6 states, and I didn't see readily what the others were. I'm praying that we don't live in one of them, but we certainly might.
Right, where it's basically effectively okay to kill your kid.
A literal get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
And in fact, there was also in this story reference to the coroner showing up to examine the body of, to take the body of a teenager who had died because her esophagus ruptured from some cure they tried to give her, and she vomited so violently her esophagus ruptured.
Holy shit.
And the family said, get out. And the coroner's like, okay. So they didn't perform an autopsy on a teenager.
Right.
Why did this person die? This is an unusual thing.
Right.
So this is pretty ghastly. It got me down the road of, and I've always wondered about this, and this was a perfect time for me to look this up and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
What are the rights of children?
Right, sure.
What are the rights in this, in the United States? What are the rights of children? And it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Okay.
But several Supreme Court decisions have supported the idea that their rights to bodily integrity, to health, to education, supersede their parents' religious beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps coming up. It's something that comes up fairly regularly. Yeah. Because somebody else tries some bullshit with their kids, and the government has to say, I know that you have religious beliefs. Doesn't matter. You still have to take care of your people.
Yeah.
You have a legal responsibility to raise up and protect and educate these people that you made.
Yeah. Well, it seems logical. It seems like, but it's not always the case. So right. There's a famous case called Prince versus Massachusetts, not the Prince prior discussed, where a J-Dub family, Jehovah's Witness family, was forcing their very underage girl to stand in the cold and hand out pamphlets 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
And a do-gooder sued on her behalf and won.
Holy crap.
and it was proven that her well-being superseded the beliefs of her parents.
Sure.
Great decision. I actually looked up the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of a Child from 1959, and we know that anything the United Nations decides is law.
Well, yes.
Is enforced.
It's enforced in full effect on the moon.
So, but I happen to agree with it. So let me give you a quick rundown.
Okay.
They have the right to equality without distinction on account of race, religion, or national origin.
Okay.
The right to special protection for the child's physical, mental, and social development.
Yeah.
The right to a name and a nationality.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. You have to have a country.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, you do. You have to have a country. You can't be I wish it wasn't the case, but you do. The right to adequate nutrition, housing, and medical services. The right to special education and treatment when a child is physically or mentally handicapped. The right to understanding and love by parents and society. The right to recreational activities and free education.
They're saying the right to love.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
The right, I like this one, the right to be among the first to receive relief in all circumstances. The right to protection against all forms of neglect, cruelty, and exploitation. And the right to be brought up in a spirit of understanding, tolerance, friendship among peoples, and universal brotherhood.
Well, good luck on that one.
I would like to meet the person who would publicly disagree with any of those things and hear them make their case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know that you have the right to love. You can't force other people to love you, unfortunately. But I mean, I think
I've tried all my life. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Love me.
Love me, please.
Take me home or I'll kill myself.
I just feel like, yeah, at very least, base level, you don't have to agree to all of those.
No.
But can we all just agree that if the kid has a medically treatable 99.9% positive results disease or ailment,
50-50 is fine.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Get the fuck in there and get that doctor.
Now, here's what's amazing. Those parents who refuse the treatment, kid dies, boop. No, please don't even question them.
Nope. Walk away clean.
If the doctor performing that life-saving thing fucked up or was negligent, boop, jail.
Lawsuits, you'll owe money, all sorts of things happen. Here's what I don't understand. These Christians, these people who will not treat their kids because they believe Jesus will save everybody.
Yeah.
They believe Jesus will save that child, but they're the ones who are like, oh my God, it's murder if you have an abortion.
Yeah, I know.
These are the same people who will decry murder from the hills.
Yep.
If someone aborts a non-viable fetus.
They're the pro-birth crowd.
Right. Pro-birth, but once they're out of the womb, fuck them.
If you got a hole in your heart, fuck you, Jesus.
Right. If Jesus chooses not to save you, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Well, where's that Jesus when the baby's in the womb?
Was it Ted Cruz? I can't remember which candidate this cycle when they were asked about that horrible situation in El Salvador where a 9-year-old or an 11-year-old, must have been 11, please let it be 11.
Kid.
Yes, was pregnant with her father's baby.
Right.
And he's like, well, it's life. What are you going to do? And those same people are the ones that kind of shrug at this law, where it's like, of course you don't have to get medical help for your kid. They're fucking property.
And Jesus, God will save them. These are good God-fearing people. Who am I to tell them what to do with their kids?
It's baffling. Then there was this story from Canada, and there's a bit of a happy ending to this.
Yeah.
Where fundamentalist Mormon parents who were also naturopaths and ran a naturopath company.
And if you don't know what naturopath means, it means nothing.
It means nothing.
It means that they believe in nature, and that doesn't mean anything.
They generally believe in maple syrup and cayenne pepper.
That's
seriously.
Yeah.
Those are the medicines God has provided you to season yourself with. So these two did not seek help for their 19-month-old who had meningitis.
Right.
They decided instead to marinate him and his rapidly increasing infection in fucking maple syrup and cayenne pepper. Well, by the time the neighbors convinced them to take him to the hospital, his body was so stiff with infection, they couldn't put him in his car seat.
Right.
Took him to the hospital. Of course, he died. Well, it's Canada, thank God. So there are some laws that apply to this sort of bullshit.
Right.
So they have been found guilty of, there's a great term for it in Canada. I can't see.
It's called child murder, eh?
Sorry, child murder. They've been found guilty, and they're facing a 5-year prison sentence for it.
Here's the other thing, though. They killed a child. They get 5 years.
5 years. If you went outside and straight up murdered a child right now, killed a 19-month-old kid.
Oh, I'd be in jail for life.
You'd get the death penalty in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you would be deservedly in jail for life.
However, even if Utah, and neither of us have bothered to look up what the law is here.
I'm afraid to look.
But let's just say that Utah doesn't have protections for these, just for the sake of argument. For this kind of a thing, and someone lets their child die because they were praying instead of getting them the treatment that they needed.
Yeah.
Even in Utah, that person would get a tiny sentence because they had these sincere beliefs, and because they were trying something. They didn't want to kill their child.
Well, I think for the most part in Utah, we're lucky. Is that the word? We're lucky that for the most part, mainstream Mormons do believe in medical science.
Right.
There's bits of it they don't like. Psychiatry's still a little,
Right.
But as far as like chemotherapy, transplants, blood, you knock yourself. And you talked about a couple weeks ago, boob jobs all day.
Sure.
Right. So, luckily that's the case. So I think
that should be the LDS Church's new motto.
Boob jobs all day.
Yeah.
Rather than put your shoulder to the wheel. Or
sure. Yeah, exactly.
So I think we're a little bit lucky with that, but there are crazy. I mean, we do have the fundamentalists, and we do have the desert dwellers, and we do have the.
I think that here's the thing. This shit is prosecuted in a lot of states, but even when it is, there were some recent high-profile cases in Oregon.
It's mitigating.
So, yeah, nobody's charged with first-degree murder. Nobody's charged with, you're charged with some sort of degraded manslaughter charge.
Yeah,
and you get
negligence.
Yeah. Criminal negligence, but nevertheless, you get maybe 5 years of jail time, as opposed to, there was one family that 2 of their kids died.
Yeah.
And are they serving consecutive life sentences? Are they facing the death penalty? Which I'm not a death penalty person, but no.
Right.
They're not facing murder charges.
No.
They're facing these. I mean,
it blows my. I'm sorry. This is clearly an agitating subject, but it blows my fucking mind that there are not criminal penalties akin to murder.
Yeah.
For this, it's your own child.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I actually have a lot of sympathy for these parents. They've been led to believe something that is not true.
Yeah.
But they believe it with all of their heart, so much so that they put their trust into this belief system with their own child's safety and welfare.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work out, I can't imagine the feelings that they go through, because I believe that they love their children. I don't believe that they, or at least in many cases, I'm perfectly willing to believe that they love their children as much as any parent loves their children.
Right.
So then they love their child, and in some cases they lose their child, and they're charged with a crime.
Yeah.
I feel for them. Nevertheless, we have to deter this behavior.
Exactly. And first of all, you have to get a license for your fucking dog.
Yeah, if you want to catch a fish, you got to get a license.
Yeah, any Ezekiel and Sarah can just run off and have a fucking baby.
Yeah.
And then that person, society entrusts this child to these people. I think you were saying they love their children. I think in a lot of these cases, these people are so mentally and emotionally disfigured from their belief system. I don't think they do. I think that they feel their children are some combination of property and a responsibility to pass on this religion. They don't see them as human beings, or they don't see them as individuals that they have to help become autonomous and move on with their lives in the future.
Yeah.
They're subject to this belief system, so they're lesser than, right? I really believe that. My family had a little bit of a fundamentalist bent.
Yeah.
And that was definitely the vibe, is you're not an individual.
You're part of the Borg.
Right. You're a cog in this machine, and this machine must always go on.
Right.
And I think it's so disfiguring.
Yeah.
That you lose sight of the your own humanity first.
Right.
And then the humanity of the child.
Right, because everything is secondary to
everything.
This belief system and this God person and all of this stuff.
They've already given up their intellect. They've already given up their freedom.
Right.
They've already given up their curiosity. Giving up their child is just the next logical step, I think.
Well,
human sacrifice, Dan.
Indeed.
Kind of is.
Kind of is.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so on that happy note, I think we'll call it a day. If you guys have anything you want to say about this subject, if we're wrong and you know what's right, go ahead and chime in, please. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com, or you can call in 424-666-8442. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on like. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
In this day and age of the social media.
And you can only click on like because there isn't a love box.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or go to the the TGIA Members Only Lounge, which is a group on Facebook. You'll have to search it out and ask to be a member. Oh, so there we go. There you have it. Thanks to Mackenzie for running our fine Facebook page. Thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their beautiful music.
Their continued indulgence.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, Mr. Mark, for filling in.
Thank you for inviting me on to have this wonderful discussion.
Oh, we're so happy. We're all walking away from this one joyful. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in to our little show here.
Farewell.
Goodbye.